recruiting is allowed in Blacksburg, Virginia. That's home of the Virginia Tech Hokies, of course. Now, it may be breaking news to them that they have added a couple of players, solid prospects in the last couple of days, but Brian Smith, recruiting analyst of the Portal Podcast, is here to discuss because you talk about underachieving on the trail, Brian, relative to the history. I don't know that a lot of younger college football fans, I'm barely old enough to remember Virginia Tech when it was Virginia Tech, when it was when they were churning out double-digit win seasons. Since 2011, or since 2012, I should say, they had a double-digit win season, 2011. They've had 10 or more wins just one time. And I actually predicted, perhaps infamously on this show, Brent Pry to go 10-2 last year because he was turning Virginia Tech around. They had a returning quarterback. They had a lot of returning production. They went 6-7. They lost to Vanderbilt in the second week, and I knew that prediction was going off the rails and such. But on the recruiting front, Brian, for a coach going into his fourth year, I feel like Virginia Tech should be ranked higher than 91st in the country right now. I'm sure they'll get higher, but 91st, this is underperforming in the recruiting ranks, right?
Underperforming? How about not showing up to the dance? Like, bro, 4 commitments. And see, today, as we record this, we're getting to that point where we're past the halfway mark of June.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand. Like, Virginia Tech's a school that's kind of out away from the city and all that, but like Bruce Smith decided to go there and all these other great players that have went on to the NFL. Like, why is it suddenly difficult to get kids to even really consider? Like, there's just not any buzz about them at all in the recruiting train. There's just not. And I don't understand why. Like, Joshua Pittman's a pretty good player, the linebacker they just got, but like, why is it 4 guys? Like, it's just, you're right down the road from all the players in the 757, the Roanoke area, Hampton and all that. DC's right up the road from that. And you're not that far from Charlotte. It is a fertile area to recruit. It doesn't make any sense at all. This is a problem internally because Virginia Tech has been proven that they can be a top 15 program on a consistent basis. It's fact. So unless something changes, there might be some coaching changes.
Now, under Brent Pry, they have been an average recruiting school. I don't think they've been horrific. I also don't think they have been great. We'll see where this class winds up being. There is still time. But to your point, I think eventually you go past a certain date and you can't lean into an argument of, well, it's still early in the cycle. It's like, well, I don't know. We're in the middle of June. Most of your class take shape in June and July. That's when most of the commits really roll through. You'll get some in August that can happen as well. But you're a quarter of the way through the hottest part of the recruiting cycle, and you're sitting there, and sure, you've added a couple players, and you've increased, but by bringing in 2 guys, you've increased the number of players in your recruiting class by 100%. That's not, they've been a top 30, 40-ish recruiter since Brent Pry got there. But one of the reasons that I bring this up on today's show, Brian, is Brent Pry's going into year 4. Not 2, not 3, year 4 off a disappointing third year where I was not the only person saying, hey, watch out for Virginia Tech as a dark horse in the ACC championship race. They didn't sniff it. Kyron Drones and the offense never got going consistently, and it just did not work out the way that it should have. They made a bowl game, whoop-de-doo. But when you couple recruiting mediocrity or struggles on top of results that are not where they're supposed to be, I think this is one of the more underrated, pressured coaching jobs in college football this year.
I don't know what his buyout is, but I guarantee you the athletic director does. That's how this works, Spencer.
Yeah.
That's fair or not, that's the way this works. Now, the next question is, who are you going to hire? That's always the most important question. So
this is true.
It's just, and it's supposed to be, allegedly, from what I've been told, it's going to be a rather large year for coaches getting the pink slip. So competition for elite coaches will be high. and there aren't a lot of big names. So he may have a little bit of more wiggle room, as they say. But if you don't recruit well and you go, let's say 6-6 again this year, that conversation is going to be had by the BOT, the AD, president, etc. Not saying it'll happen, but your moneymaker, your revenue has to come through basketball and football. We all know it, especially with this, what is it, $20.5 million? The house settlement starts in a couple of weeks. That is money you have to come up with. Losing in football is not how that works at all. I know they love Enter Sandman, but they love it better when there's a win at the end of the game. So if they don't figure this out quick, he won't be there. This year, it would be one or the other.
Yeah, by the way, did you know that Virginia Tech, I don't know if they're the only school. I know they're one of the only schools in the Power Four who start the season with back-to-back SEC opponents. They play South Carolina first and Vanderbilt week 2. And, Vanderbilt is, of course, miles ahead of the Big Ten, in the words of their quarterback, Diego Pavia, who was just taken. You didn't see this, Brian? Oh, he was dunking on the Big Ten. Saying, why would you go? Let me pull up the exact quote here from our good friend. It is peak. It is indeed peak June content. This is going to take me a moment.
That's right. Diego Pavia, I saw him play live last year.
He's awesome.
He is clutch. I mean, he's third down nightmare. Control the ball, not put it where it's got to get in harm's way, but put it right where it needs to go to score. Like he's clutch, man.
Yeah, he is. And that's what I remember most about their upset of Alabama last year. And is that Pavia was just executing on third down over and over and over again. Yeah. He'll be Vanderbilt's quarterback again this year. But here's what he said, quote, "You want to play with the best. You don't want to play with the Big Ten. You ignore those calls. The SEC, it's like week after week, you're going to get beat on. The Big Ten, you're not going to get beat on with Purdue, Nebraskas." And ouch. Them some fighting words. And I tell you what, if Vanderbilt doesn't beat Virginia Tech in week 2 out of the ACC,
we're going to have to revisit this.
Yeah. I think more than a few people are going to revisit that particular quote. But, Virginia Tech's schedule, I think it's pretty tough on the back half. When you get into conference play, it starts off pretty easy with NC State, Wake Forest. But then it is legitimately hard. Their win total on FanDuel is 6.5. And the recruiting angle that I look at it with this, Brian, is you're never going to be fired as a head coach solely because you don't recruit. You can, however, allow that to be the icing on the cake that the athletic director makes. The results on the field aren't there, and we don't see an uptick in recruiting. You think about a guy like Billy Napier. What's one of the reasons Billy Napier has his job? The dude recruits really, really well. He recruits incredibly well. If he hadn't, maybe they would have ponied up the buyout money at this point in time. So I think the pressure level for Brent Pry to win at least 8 games this year is squarely on his shoulders, because unless something changes in the next 6 weeks, really, maybe, and it could, but history would tell you they're not going to get inside the top 30 or top 25 and, really make some noise on the trail. If they don't do that, there's going to be no recruiting class to save Brent Pry perceptually for Hokie fans.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. What are you selling if it's questionable? Drones didn't make a developmental step last year. He was expected to. You underachieved win-loss, and we're looking at 4 commitments on the board for the class of 26. That's over. Quarterback's the first thing people ask about when a program's developing or not. So I brought that up first. But if quarterback play doesn't get better, that record's not going to get better either. So, by the way, that is a random point about the 2 SEC. Like South Carolina's got their front. I hope Virginia Tech, and they lost their tackle to Auburn, by the way, speaking of the SEC. He went over this could be a very auspicious start for the Hokies. If they start 0-2.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, last year I thought they'd beat Vanderbilt, and lo and behold, they did not. They went to Tennessee and lost that football game. They've got it at home, but boy, you better win at least one of them, or else.
If they go 0 for 2 there, it would be a very steep climb.
And then you know who they play week 3? The ever upset-minded Old Dominion Monarchs.
If they start 0-3, you can
0-3. Bye. That will be bye time. Brian Smith, the Portal Podcast, longtime recruiting analyst. That will do it for the show today. Appreciate everybody listening. I will see you next time, and until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.